Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 72, where I was white and my opponent played a very unusual defense, so we'll check it out. Before I do, I want to say this was actually a really badly played game, and I had my doubts about uploading it, but I decided after looking at it with the engine that there were a number of instructive moments here, so sometimes badly played games allow for a lot of instruction opportunities, a lot of room for improvement, as it were. So I'm going to leave the chess engine off, and we'll do little tactical quizzes. And here, let's look at the opening out with the opening book. So e4, he played e6. I play d4. He plays d6, and we're now out of the opening book. So now there is a line called the hippopotamus, an opening called the hippopotamus, which goes with the knights in front of the king and the queen like that, and then followed up by fianchettoing both bishops. And that's called the hippopotamus. But that's not what he's playing. He plays with the flank pawns, the h pawn and the a pawn, to a6 and h6. So I guess you can play this regardless of what your opponent does, and you don't lose immediately. But I think with correct play, white should be pretty good here. And the computer likes white all through this part. And up until my first mistake, which is coming up in a few moves, I'm wasting time here maneuvering my knight around, but it found itself in a bad spot. It just wasn't very good on f3, hemmed in by these pawns. Probably could have gone for a more active plan here, like undermining this pawn with a move like h4. H4 is not possible yet because the knight's there. Anyway, yeah, there's a certain consistency in black's setup here. It makes it a little bit tricky to crack. But this move here, knight f5, okay, so this is my first mistake. And there's a tactical refutation of this move. Maybe take a look at it for a second or two, see if you can spot the tactic. Okay, if you want more time, pause the video. I'm going to give the answer away. It is knight takes here. The thing is, it's undermining the defender of this knight. The knight was only supported by the pawn. Now, I naturally want to grab this knight, but then he can grab that knight, and he's just won a pawn. So, pretty simple tactic, and it's one of those more underrated kind of tactics called removing the defender, or undermining the piece that's advanced here. Undermining a piece that's under attack, or removing the guard. I guess that's the official term for it. Anyway, keep your eye out for tactics like that. They crop up during games. He played bishop takes f5, and that was what I was expecting. So somehow we were on the same wavelength in this game. I was playing bad moves, and he was expecting them. So somewhere around here, yeah, this move bishop e3 was a mistake. So now this is the point, actually, where the computer suggests I should start undertaking more active operations, and it recommends playing the moves h4 and d takes c6 in either order. One of the points is that this d pawn is very hard to defend. So after he takes, a computer thinks the best to just take back with the pawn, but you can see that it's already under attack from two pieces and defended by two pieces, and it's isolated, so it's going to be a chore to defend that throughout the rest of the game. I took with the knight, which is slightly worse because he can check, and now if I bring my bishop back to d2 to chase the queen away, then he can just pick up that pawn. And the move I played, queen d2, doesn't work either because after the trade the knight wins a pawn. So he is pretty much winning a pawn at this point. And the computer had an interesting suggestion here, which is its idea is if you're going to win a pawn, if black is going to win a pawn, why don't you give him a different pawn besides that d pawn, which may be useful. So the computer recommended this variation. And now the queen is defending this pawn, so it's not lost. You've given up the b pawn instead, but maybe you can recapture it with rook to b8, and your piece is a little more actively posted than in the game. So that was the computer's recommended solution to this problem. I played queen d2, and so we got this trade, and he picks up a pawn. And now he has a slight advantage along here, but not overwhelming because I have compensation in the bishop pair. And I'm doing okay until this blunder here, where actually I have a good move at this point. So black just made a mistake. It's white's turn to move. What do you play? Okay, again, this is a simple tactic. If you haven't spotted it yet, I'm going to tell you. So pause the video now. Okay, the move is bishop takes f7. Yeah, he just left that pawn hanging there. And it's funny, it was like an agreement not to notice that, because I didn't do anything about it, and he didn't do anything about it for several moves. And so that pawn is loose there for a long while. And I was concentrating on these center pawns here, which are more dangerous in the long run, but getting rid of this f-pawn would have given me a protected passed pawn over here, which would have been great for the endgame. And let's see. At this point, after this move, yeah, now black has a good move. I just blundered. White just blundered, so black has a good move. So what's black's best move here? Okay, pause the video if you didn't see it immediately. The answer is bishop h4 check. Nice little skewer here, picking up the exchange when the king moves out of the way. Okay, so terrible play on all sides. Bishop f4. We trade off the bishops. And, you know, things are about even along here. Once he defends that pawn, black is probably slightly better again. But this point here is kind of an interesting point. Right here, where I played the rook to h2. So I was just ganging up on that pawn. Actually, his previous move, where I played king to e3. Yeah, right here, white has a better plan than what my plan is. Now, I'm not going to go through this in exhaustive detail, but if you want to think about this position here, how would you proceed as white? So this is a position we're thinking about. It's not a simple tactic, but just a general plan, how to best play this position. And there are some tactics involved, of course. Okay, yeah, pause the video if you want to think about this. This is a position worth studying, I think. First move is bishop e6, and one of the reasons why this is so hard to spot is there's lots of different possibilities depending on where the king can go. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 moves. So the simple move, king d8, may be the best move according to the computer. You can just take this knight and then win the d-pawn. Then there's lots of other variations. Here there was an interesting one where the king comes to this square. Instead of d8 going to c8, where you check the king, and you would think that the idea would be to take the knight and grab the pawn, but that's not particularly good. The idea is to harass the king with moves like this, and you get a strong advantage this way. And there are other variations too, so this goes on and on. The king could also go to the other direction. And in each case, I think the follow-up is still rook to c1 with the idea of invading on the third rank here. The seventh rank, rather. And if he defends the seventh rank, you can come in to the sixth rank with the rook. So anyway, a pretty interesting position and worth some study, trying to check out all the different variations, either by yourself or with the help of a computer. But there's a lot more there. So anyway, I played king e3, going after the simpler plan, just doubling the rooks and winning this h-pawn and restoring material equality, which is okay. There's maybe some slight advantage to white along here. But yeah, we'll just go up to the next stage. Right here, I have a good move. And I didn't play it. So it's white's turn to move. What's a good move for white? Okay, pause the video if you haven't gotten it. The move is g5. And the idea is this pawn is pinned. If he takes the g-pawn, I can just grab his knight. So this just wins a pawn or allows me to get a pass pawn. And this is quite a strong pass pawn. I managed to get it later in the game with a similar idea. So let's play on. I checked him first, and then I went back there. And he played knight c4. And now I had this idea, g6, g5. It's the same idea. There's a pin on the king. I push the pawn forward. And I have a winning advantage according to the computer at this point. And I should just go on to win the game. But stay tuned. He starts pushing his pawn for some counterplay, but it's just not good enough. My bishop is guarding the square that's going to queen on. And so I'm going to win material here one way or another. So, move 42. Oh, no, it's later. 45. It's just checking my notes there. Right here, rook h2 was not the best way to play this. Also, if we back up a little bit, when I was creating this right here, did I make a note? Yeah, I didn't make a note of this one. But I remember from the computer analysis, rather than queening right away, it's better to throw in this check. Picks up a pawn, and if the king comes forward to harass my rook, I can check again from this square. So this is just a much stronger move. I'm going for the simple win. Just by advancing the pawn, I know I'm winning material here, but even here I could throw in a check, although it's not so simple because he could attack the rook. I have to make sure that I can get back in time. I can check again from this square. And then, but then I'm blocking my bishop. Yeah, so it's not so simple here. So maybe I couldn't check here. But I just retreat my bishop to make sure that this pawn is not going anywhere. So I'm still winning along here. But move 45, rook h2, still winning, but not as strong as some other moves. For example, just checking the king and coming over here and gobbling the a-pawns. There's no need to harass this guy immediately. In fact, the computer's recommended move, well, actually the computer's recommended move is to use the king to harass that pawn and leave the rook actively posted here. So retreating the rook and forcing this exchange is not the best way to play this. So I get my rook active again. I'm still winning here, but now the win is not so simple. And 49, king e3. Yeah, okay. This move is practically losing. King e3. So can you tell why this is a bad move? Let's talk about it. I mean, I was thinking I was guaranteed to get this pawn because his knight can't defend it and his king can't defend it. And when I take the pawn, I'm skewering his king and possibly winning this pawn over here, or at least forcing his king back to defend it. So all I have to do is move my king to a square where black doesn't get any tempos. But if I move my king to e3 here, then black has a tempo. So I assume you see the move now. I assume you see the idea. Well, it was played in the game too, so there's no mystery. Knight d5 check gains a really important tempo for black. I move my king, and now he moves his knight to defend the pawn. And my rook is nearly trapped. And this game is no longer winning for white. But it's not winning for black either, not yet. It's not until this move, king c3. And now it's winning for black because my rook is trapped. The only move here is rook to b7. So when his king comes to get it, I can back up here and then escape with my rook. After I play king to c3, he plays king c6, and the game is over because there's no way out for my rook. And he's got an extra pawn here, and this is just a winning rook and pawn endgame. So a sad end to a terrible game, but some instructive moments in there. So I hope you guys got something out of that, and leave any comments you have in the section below. Bye.